your producer, Tessa Thompson. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on just a delicious film.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, this is an honestly from SAG-AFTRA actors, actually. So I always like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? And this might be unfair to Nina because you were probably working for quite a while before you got your SAG card. You might even not even know.
Yeah, it's then when you're an international actor, you at a certain point you learn it would be really good for you if you would get the SAG card. What's SAG? You know, and then you learn all about your system and everything, and then you go, yeah, of course, I'm going. I love a union, you know. So yeah, let's do it. And then I understood what it means, and then it's really quite something when you get your card.
Yeah, it's an actual physical card.
You guys. No, it's fantastic.
Tessa, do you remember what movie it was for you?
Yeah, well, actually, so it was kind of circuitous. I grew up here in LA, and I don't know anyone in the business, but my dad is a musician, and we used to walk, because we lived in Hollywood, along Hollywood Boulevard, and we were walking past a casting office, and my dad happened to know the casting director when I was a little girl, and she was casting for, I think it was like a music video or something, and she was like, oh, your daughter looks cool, is she available? And so I did this music video when I was like 6 years old, and I fell in love with it. It was so cool. I got to wear red lipstick, and I wore a wedding dress, and it was my first kiss, and it was so cool. So I did like a couple things as a kid, but then I never worked again. It didn't really make sense for my family for me to do it. And then many years later, I had done a bunch of theater, and I was like, I think I really want to be an actor. And I got cast in an episode of Cold Case, but I wasn't SAG.
Oh.
And I remember at the time, I don't remember what it would have cost, but it would have cost so much money to join SAG, and I couldn't afford it. And I wrote SAG this letter, and I said, hey, I was very briefly in the union many years ago, and is there anything, I got this part and it's so great, and is there anything we can do? And they said, yes, if you pay your back fees that you should have paid that year, which was like $74 or something.
Oh, that's it. I thought they meant back fees for like 20 years.
No, I thought so too, and I was like, oh no, this will be more than just joining. No, they charged me $74.
That's amazing.
$74.90 or something. And I got back in the union, and I made this episode of Cold Case, and that's how I got my SAG card back.
That's fantastic.
The coolest thing.
There's so many crazy things about this story. I don't know if I've ever met a Los Angeles native, let alone one who lived in Hollywood, and you literally got discovered on the street by a casting director.
I guess technically, yeah. And then I got rediscovered by myself.
Well, again, congratulations on a wonderful movie and such a fantastic adaptation of Henrik Ibsen's classic. I know a lot of people, have their own relationship with this play. And Nina, I believe you've actually played Hedda on stage.
Yes, I did.
Did you spend this whole movie going, that's not how I would have done it?
No, are you kidding?
No, she was like, do it like this. No, she never did.
Well, what interested you in coming aboard this adaptation as Eileen?
Well, there was never an Eileen
Right.
in this play, So that was the thing that got me so excited, because I was always I learned this word from Tessa. I was mystified by Eilandlefolk. I never quite knew what this word means, and I was mystified by him, because I always thought, but what is? If you have Hedda and the two men, you always feel she is more clever than them, and that doesn't quite change. Both of the men want something from her, and she kind of, even with Brack, kind of keeps them away, and in check and so. And when there's an Eileen, that's not so easy anymore. All of a sudden, and that's what we were working on a lot as well. But what does that mean? That she's really an option, and Eileen is someone dangerous for Hedda, because she sees her, and she knows her, and there's this immense attraction, but also this kind of, you are too dangerous for me. I'm in a different place in my life. And you don't have that if there's an island with Bob. He is really just, he loves her. He wants to be with her, to be kind of acknowledged by, he's in it for himself also, I think. But the moment it was Eileen and I read the script, I was like, oh my God, there's so much more in this. It becomes so nicely complicated and nuanced and deep, and this character all of a sudden has such a ride that I didn't see with Eilert. Like from her first entrance to the end, it's like, whoa, there's a whole world happening. So that's when I got like, oh my God, I get to do this. It's fascinating and amazing. I'm very thankful. And with her.
And you've obviously worked with filmmaker Nia DaCosta before. It's just such a fantastic collaboration. Did she approach you as like simultaneously as actor and producer? What interested you in coming aboard as both?
Oh yeah, no, she. So I made her first film with her, and Little Woods, and we workshopped it together. When I met her, it was just at the Sundance Labs in their program where you can come as a filmmaker and shoot very crude versions of scenes from your script. And so I just volunteered as an actor, basically, and there's no thought that you would go on to make the movie. You just sort of donate your time for about a week, and we met in that context, and I just fell in love with her as not just as a human, but as a filmmaker. And like on day 3, she said to me, when I make this movie, will you make it with me? And I remember being so struck that she said when, not if. I just thought it was so remarkable, and I said yes, and so we became fast friends and collaborators. And then she called me a couple of years ago and said that she was thinking about doing an adaptation of Hedda Gabler, and we've become the kind of friends that we talk about things, even if I'm not, things that she's thinking about or I'm thinking about. She'll read scripts sometimes. She likes to call herself my shadow manager, So we'll just bounce things back and forth. And when she bounced that to me, I didn't immediately understand that she meant with me. And then she's like, no, you would be Hedda. And I was like, wow, oh, wow. But she didn't say anything about what she was thinking about doing with the adaptation. She just, and this is very Nia of her, she just sent me the script some months later.
And you're a theater kid at heart. Did you have any kind of relationship with this play?
Yeah, I started only in the theater and kind of thought that that's what I would do. Theater, television and film wasn't something I ever really thought I would do or could do. And I loved theater, but my first play that I read of Ibsen's was A Doll's House, and that was the play that I always thought, oh, I'd love to play Nora someday. I don't know, I just, something about her always really struck me, and I did probably very bad versions of it in class, and but Hedda was never something that I imagined that I would play necessarily. The character always mystified me, but it's not one that I thought about, and certainly not on screen. I thought on stage, if anything. But I sort of think if you're going to adapt something, it makes sense to have real, I don't know, something to say and something that only you can say with it. So when she first called me talking about adaptation, I didn't really understand why, and it wasn't until I understood what she wanted to do with the piece and how much of her I could see inside of it, how many of the things that she's sort of wrestling with I saw in the adaptation, and I was like, wow, this is it.
I heard everything you said, but once you said A Doll's House, I was like, you need to do A Doll's House next. The two of you and Nia.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Just do the whole cinematic universe. It is interesting because this play premiered in 1891, and I love that it's updated here to a more contemporary setting, but were there discussions about how to sort of have your performances preserve sort of the classic elements while also approaching it from a more modern angle? I love the clipped way they talk, which is like a combination of the two, and I feel like you're sort of stepping between both worlds.
Was that a question?
Yes. Oh. No, I just want to tell you all what I think of this movie. Because you're here to hear me.
What was the question?
Were there discussions about how to capture both worlds?
Yes, I think so. I mean, Nia was interested in setting it. She knew she didn't want to set it in the present. and she wanted to set it in a time that it felt like we had a cultural reference for. In the 50s, they feel like they still occupy kind of pop culture. We understand them, and also most of us, there's still so much, I think, that exists, particularly in culture now, that is reminiscent of some of the things that were happening during the time. And she sort of thought the 50s were this time of great pretending, like post-war, this like, women get back in the house, let's put the pieces back together exactly as they were before, never mind the trauma of what's happened globally. And so she sort of thought the 50s were really ripe. And then also this idea of repression, because Hedda herself is a woman who is not just repressed by the time in which she lives, but by her own limitations that she puts on herself. And so Nia thought the 50s were also really fantastic for that. And England was fantastic for a place of repression. Sorry. There's English people out there, that's why we love them. But so for all those reasons, she sort of thought the English countryside in the 50s made sense. But Hedda herself is a modern woman, you know, in Ibsen's original piece, she's this woman who's just, it's all about this sort of domesticity. She's not really in the world. You know, men come back and tell her stories from the world, but this is a woman, Hedda, who's been in the world, who's done all sorts of things, and then confines herself to a life of domesticity, partially for, you know, convenience and for proximity to wealth, and also it's her best choice, she thinks. She makes a series of choices. The thing I thought was so interesting is, like, you know, I come from women that made a series of choices. You know, my two grandmothers were women of the 50s, one still living, and, you know, she never worked a day in her life, which is no judgment. It's just that she decided to marry a man and then divorced and married another man, and she was, you know, her life was sort of confined to the house in a lot of ways. And the truth is, it wasn't until I was really doing the work on this, I had pictures of her and my other grandmother plastered in my trailer, and even before the research started with them, I realized myself I hadn't considered what other choices she might have made. It just hadn't really occurred to me, you know, my whole life observing my grandmother. And, you know, I go and visit her now. She's still alive, thankfully. She has Alzheimer's, but she's very much here and remembers me. And she forgets so many things, but she remembers every day to wear red lipstick.
Oh.
Every single day. It's her beauty is so a part of her identity. And there's something that's gorgeous about that, and something that's, like, I don't know, when I think of it in the context of Hedda, kind of heartbreaking. Did I answer your question?
Yes, and my next three, as a matter of fact, so that's great. Nina, for you, I'm curious, because you played, you know, a Hedda who made certain choices, and then now you're playing Eileen, who, you know, rebelled against those choices and against the norm. What was that like for you to see the other side of it?
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I think, in a way, when she tells the story how she first saw Hedda, that to me was like the initiation for Eileen, also to kind of feel, I see her riding past this window every Sunday, like she feels something. So in a way, Hedda made her realize, oh, I love women, you know. And then her intellectual part kicked in, and this kind of like, I can't deny who I am. I have to follow through. I have to see what I can do with my life, and I have no other choice but to be brave. And that was something, like I said in the first moment, I found so many things in this character that just simply, I've never even thought that was in the material, you know. So I said to Nia, my God, I mean, I've been on stage for 6 years with this stuff, you know, and I've never even thought that there's so much more depth in there. And yeah, to me it was like, she's everything that Hedda could go for as well. And that's, I think, Eileen's frustration, that she sees someone very capable, intelligent, witty, you know. I mean, she can read the room immediately. She knows how to manipulate everyone immediately, you know. So she's super sharp, and it's very frustrating to Eileen, I think that she can't get her
Mm-hmm.
on this ride, but she has no other choice for herself. She has to go for it, and that's why it's a struggle. You see, for Eileen, I think it's, and that when you talk about your grandmother, I thought about the women in my life, the women that inspired me, my mother that had a, she was one of the first heads of a theater in Germany, the second one, and had a lot of fights to fight,
Yeah.
you know, and we all still have a lot of fights to fight if we enter a room full of men like Eileen does. I think we don't even have to talk about it. We know, you know, that what it takes to just turn the room around, to then be just heard, that what to bring across what you actually want to talk about. You know, you have to do a whole stick before you and spiel before you get to do that. You know, so there was so much in there that I always thought I'm speaking for us, for the femininity, you know, the female struggle with, and I love that Nia put the humor in it, you know, the wit, it's not, Eileen is not hard, Hedda is not hard, Thea is not hard, you know, no one's really hard. Yeah, no, I mean, this is, yeah, it made a big change for Thea, because Thea is all of a sudden, the choice to leave your husband and go with a woman in those days is striking. So she becomes someone really powerful, also for Hedda. It's like, how can that be? This girl does what she couldn't do, or she doesn't allow herself to do. And those were the things we were thinking a lot about and working on.
So much of the movie hinges on, you know, the chemistry between these two characters, and I'm curious, I don't think there was any kind of a chemistry read. Did you meet on set, and how did you sort of develop this relationship that really feels long and lived in?
We met on set, but we rehearsed. We rehearsed for 2 weeks together, and then we got, I guess, lucky and unlucky. The strike happened, and so we were supposed to start shooting, and then we didn't for a very long time. And then, remarkably, we kept the film afloat, which is so cool. That's really MGM, Amazon, Orion, because so many films didn't survive. And so then we came back and rehearsed again. So we got a month total together, because we had to also make some casting changes. You know, which is, I guess, movies all the time, you know, all these sort of happy accidents that happen along the way. But so we got a lot of time together during that time, which was great. And then I was, you know, an admirer of Nina's from afar, and then got to go back and watch her films and stalk them.
Same.
You know, it's like different when you know you're going to work with someone, then it changes somehow the way you watch their work or something. I don't know.
You're like, this is what I gotta go up against.
Yeah, definitely. You know what she said? She said she played Hedda for 6 years. She didn't say, because recently I was like, that is so amazing. Wow, 6 years of Hedda Gabler. She's like, well, I didn't do it every night. I did Medea some nights too.
Just bragging.
What a flex. Wow.
But
No, she didn't even mean it as a
Yeah,
flex.
no,
She meant
I
it like I had a break.
It's our system. It's our theater system. The repertoire, you know. So you do, if you're part of an ensemble, you do 6 shows, you know, at the same time, and you rehearse in the morning, and you go on stage and you do, I don't know, a comedy.
Yeah, but you didn't do.
Then Hedda, you know, it's like, yeah, that's.
We do rep too, but it's like
No,
voices
not
off.
like that.
and-
You
yeah.
used to also.
I was gonna say, could you split that up with a rom-com or something? Nice Neil Simon. How much does it help you as actors, because you can prepare and, you know, study these characters, and then you step on these gorgeous sets and you put on those dresses and, you know, get into the hair and makeup. Did I write down the name of the costumer? Because Lindsay Pugh's. Oh my God. How much does that help you as an actor, like lock the final character in place?
Oh, so much, and you know, it's everything, and it's also the beginning. I guess these are the first discussions or conversations that you have where you kind of feel, okay, what would I need? How do I see this character? Like in front of this mirror, all of a sudden this character gets born. And I love that Lindsay had this idea that concerning the fabric, that it's a take on a suit. So the fabric of the dress is kind of like a smoking kind of material. And then, of course, we had to find something. Does what it does. But we wanted it to be like a take on a shirt.
Yeah.
So it's white, and I didn't want the whole dress to be really soft or flowy or something. I wanted Eileen to have something that holds her. So a corset was something we found, and also she it was part of the time in the 50s. You had the corset, which I liked, and also which I thought was, because we could have gone down the route that she wears a suit. And it was really intentional that we say, no, she doesn't hide her femininity, not at all, in the contrary. It's like a traffic light at the beginning. Here they are. And I just loved something that she's so bold, this woman, she just doesn't hide anything. And she's not a typical lesbian, the cliche, what is a typical lesbian? I don't know. But I just love it that it's kind of unsettling.
Yeah.
You don't know whom you're dealing with. It's a little bit like Hedda as well, and that's why I think there is this chemistry also, because we both look for those things. We both look for the little. How can we unsettle each other? No, you're not gonna do this. I don't. That is the fun, because that's why these two love each other in a way. So so the costume starts everything, and then gives you everything that you don't have to do anymore.
Yeah. Well, even just like wearing that dress, you probably had to carry yourself a certain way that like changes your whole posture.
Yeah, the dress itself didn't. Yeah, we sort of love this idea of the dress not fit, like she's in a life that doesn't fit too comfortably on her, and she's also in a dress that doesn't fit too comfortably on her. It was wild. I was looking up, the average, some of the waist sizes of actresses during that time, and some of them were so shocking. They were like 20 inches. There was just like that sort of new Dior shape. So I tried for a really long time to get as close to that as I could, and then I was like, this is hard.
Yeah.
But then we thought it's kind of interesting if she's sort of spilling over, that she's trying at something that it doesn't. It is its own affect, in the same way that her voice. But
you don't know where you're spilling over.
Well, there's only. I'm spilling in. I'm more sausaged in. I don't have the goods to spill over like some of us. I'm trying my best.
That's what I meant.
It's as low cut as it can be. It's just I'm giving what I got. But it's okay. The screen couldn't handle 2 sets of It was enough for me. Just
this division, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably best what I was working with. But the set also, it's really it's an incredible thing to get to shoot all in one location.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It just doesn't happen that often. And so we shot all in one house. That's the house. And it was tricky to find that house because there were limitations we were giving the homeowners, because it needed to feel like this real listed house, which it is. We needed to drop a chandelier.
Right.
We needed to shoot a gun off the roof, and we needed to have fireworks outside. And those were our 3, things that were mandated. And so our incredible production designer, Kara Brower, looked at 200 houses and then whittled it down eventually to about 5. And this house came to us, and one of the incredible things that you also know, like, as an actor is so rare. Like, not only was the house, this lake that bookends the film, the beginning and the end. And I always imagined when I was like, even just working on the script, that Hedda at any point can look out into the lake. It's the way she can remind herself of choice. You know, that is her choice. And extraordinarily, I could see that lake from every window in the house. And I remember the first time I went in, as they were moving into the house, I wept. Because I was like, I couldn't imagine this thing that I had been imagining. Like, how would I know? It was months of dreaming of this, and suddenly it came. And that was the only house that had a full lake, and all the other options we would have gone to some other place. But it was like just the most extraordinary thing. And also what it meant is we got to rehearse in that space. So we rehearsed like a play. And I think particularly coming from the theater, when you have that opportunity to you know, be in the space, but also just be a company. You know, we were really a company because no one went back to their trailers. We hung out because of the limitations of the house as well, which is so cool. We could only be in one room in between sets. We couldn't just hang out anywhere in the house. And so it was this where they kept the dogs.
Ooh,
We hung
best
out
room.
in the dog room, best room. And so we all hung out in this room, and we just really got to know each other, and we'd play games and we'd talk, and even the moments where you weren't quiet but you couldn't get it, and you just had your company around you. It was just extraordinary. Especially, it felt like a return from what I loved about being on the stage, that it's so communal, such a communal experience. And truthfully, I feel like the work that I did early in, working in the stage and working in a company and being in theater companies, it sort of spoiled me when I started working in Hollywood, which was amazing. I was like, we're not Kansas anymore. This is so different. Even the kind of parts that I could play felt so different. So this was like just a really, a total dream come true at this point in my career, to have this kind of experience.
It's such a great film, and the good news is it's streaming on Amazon now, so you can watch it again and again. I just keep rewinding. You'll run out of bullets. Sorry, I did you in front of you. That was obnoxious.
You did. You did well.
But please spread the word. It's such a special film. Thank you for being a great audience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.